Hey folks, welcome back to Abundant Life Homestead. I'm pretty much done with all the maintenance I'm going to do on the tractor this year. Didn't get to everything on my list. There's some things we can save till spring, but winter's upon us now. It doesn't look like anything more than a nice sunny day out here, a little windy, but it's actually 25 degrees and pretty cold. So yeah, we're done with the maintenance. Time to start putting stuff back together. Pretty soon we're going to get the body panels and hood on, get the tonneau cover on. We're going to start with the steering wheel. Hey folks, if you could earn rebates on your regular purchases and help support my channel at no extra cost to you, would you do it? Of course you would, and you can with an app called Upside. Upside finds you rebates at local gas stations, convenience stores, restaurants, even grocery stores. And it's real simple to use. Once you set it up, you scroll through the list, you find offers that you want to claim, you claim it. If you're not at the location when you claim it, it'll even show you how to get there and give you 4 hours to pay. Once you've paid, you tell the app that you've paid, processing gets done, you get your rebate in your Upside account. Super easy to cash out too. You can send it direct to your bank account, you can send it to Google, Apple, Amazon, Walmart, and a whole variety of online retailers' gift cards. So how does that help me? Well, this isn't a paid sponsorship or anything. My wife and I have been using Upside for a very long time, and it has legitimately put hundreds of dollars a year back into our bank accounts. And they have a great referral program. I'm putting my referral link in the video description in the comments section below. If you install Upside through my referral link and start using it now, you get a 15 cent per gallon bonus on your first gasoline purchase, and I get 1 penny per gallon that you purchase after that. 1 penny doesn't sound like much, but when you find out that this app does what it says it's going to do, and you use it the way we use it, those pennies are going to add up over time and make a big difference. So download the app today, start saving, start getting rebates, and I'm going to get back to work on the tractor. Now before I start reattaching this, I want to show you something. I noticed it when I first took the steering wheel off. I didn't say much about it, but my rubber bushing right here is pretty worn out. And I ordered one as soon as I got it, or as soon as I saw it. And it just came in. The top of that bushing is supposed to be flat with a lip on it. So it's all worn off there. Needs to be replaced. Like I said, it's cold out here. Rubber doesn't, it's not very pliable in these temperatures. I think I could do more damage to this trying to put it on now than I would leaving this old one on till spring. So springtime rolls around, we're going to get to that. It's a very important thing to check though. I've had to replace my entire steering shaft and gearbox down there. About 6 years ago, steering wheel popped, got very loose, and I knew the gear had went out, the ball gear had went out down in here. You could feel it in the play of the wheel. Kubota doesn't make this shaft with ball gear on it anymore, so I decided, heck, I can do a lot of work. I'd buy a rebuild kit. Bought a rebuild kit on auction website. I put it in. It didn't last very long. It blew out. I blew through 3 of them before I decided to bite the bullet and buy from Kubota. Kubota doesn't make the shaft, but they do sell the entire assembly gearbox up, and that entire assembly cost me $1,000. So keeping an eye on this bushing, and the rest of the steering box is a vitally important part of taking care of your tractor. We know that's bad. I'm sure it's going to last till spring, but we know we've got the stuff to replace it. We're going to do that. So putting your steering wheel on is pretty simple. You get it lined up the way you want it as far as your crossbars here. I don't think there's any real standard for it, because even in the workshop manual, sometimes you see it like this with one pointing straight forward. Sometimes you see it like this with one pointing backwards. I kind of like it, I think, with one pointing forward. You wiggle it around till you get lined up on the teeth of the shaft. Press it down. It's got a lock washer a 17mm nut. This one's a little worn, but we may see about replacing that when we do that bushing in the spring. And then, despite their lack of torque specs on many bolts in the workshop manual, they do give the torque spec for this, but it's a pretty wide range, 22 to 36 pounds. If you've turned a wrench more than a few times, you can probably by hand get between that, in that range, in that ballpark of 22 to 36 pounds without breaking out your torque wrench. I'm not going to worry about getting mine out today. Just going to hold the wheel, bring her down. And we'll get her in where it feels like it would pop around 30 pounds. There we go. A lot of play in this, but again, when we do that bushing, I think I'll save that for springtime. There's an adjustment down here. We'll get into that because we'll check and see if we need to change our oil first. Now we just put our center cap back on. Steering wheel's good to go. Next, we're going to put our tunnel cover back on. It's real simple. We got these plastic knobs with a threaded shaft. One here, and then same on the other side. Biggest thing we got to worry about is making sure we're not pinching off any wires when we put it on. This never really fits just right. You tend to have to get each one of them started, and usually have to put some pressure on at least one corner to get them all fully in. There we go. That one started. Probably have to come on that side. And last one. Yep. Tighten these down in no particular order. Once you get them all started, I tend to start up here on the dash end, tighten these down, and come back here towards the seat end. Like that when I've got to lift up on it while I tighten it, or it will grind into the threads. This one's lined up pretty well center, so it's alright. Alright, everything's good and tight. So at this point I'm going to fire up the tractor, let her warm up a while, and we can get out from under the bucket and start putting the rest of the pieces together. Been a few days since I started this. So. Okay, with the bucket out of the way, we need to put our decompression cable back on. Takes a flathead screwdriver here on the end. Back that screw out. Slide the stop off of it. Don't lose that. And then there's a nut. Run the cable through this hole in the firewall. Curve it around. Get the bracket here. Run your nut back on. Tighten it just a little bit with pliers. You don't want to make it too tight. If you try to put pliers on both sides, you're going to end up damaging this. It's kind of a brass fitting there. So just a little past hand tight's good enough. Little hole there on your lever. Make sure your cable moves before you fully attach it. That's odd. It's where it was set and where it's going to be set are two different places. That's alright. We'll put this piece back on the cable, just on the outside of the bracket. Make sure you're not actually getting pressure. Just take it to where there's no pressure. Tighten that screw back down. Now this one you do want to get good and tight, because if you ever have to use that decompression knob, especially in the winter time, you go pulling on that knob. If this isn't tight, it'll slip right out. Cable will slip right out before it ever pulls this lever for your decompression. Hopefully you never need that. Keep your battery in tip-top shape. Don't ever run it out of fuel, especially in the middle of winter. Keep a trickle charger on it. You'll never actually need that, but it's there in case you do. Now we got to pull our air cleaner housing back off. When I put it back on for temporary, just to get around while we were doing maintenance, I only put one of the bolts back in. It's a 12 millimeter. And we just slide it off the intake. Okay, I'm going to take our right side body panel here. Get it kind of up where we want it. We've got two holes here to line up, and then we've got two big holes in the back, or on the bottom, one here, and then we've got a cross member that goes here. These smaller holes are a bolt with a Phillips head in it. Get those lined up. Like most things on this machine, you don't want to tighten any of them down. You get everything threaded first, because oftentimes things don't line up the way they're supposed to anymore. Not after 40 plus years of service. That a little loose. Now this one we'll take the cross member, which we have here, and it'll attach to both body panels. In the end, it takes the same bolt with the Phillips head on it. Man, it's cold out here. Alright, let's drop down. Well, we'll go ahead and do this one. Now this one had a bolt, a lock washer, and a nut. The bolt and nut are 12 millimeter. Metal's going to be awfully cold to be touching, but my gloves ain't going to work here too well. Get that started, get it hardly hand tight. We'll finish it up after we run the bottom two. Okay, down below here we got two more holes. One here, one here. I take a bolt with a 14 millimeter head. Wiggle it a little bit, move the sheet metal to line up your hole. Let's see, where was it? Right there. Alright, got that started. I'm going to put my glove back on. We're going to tighten all this stuff down. Moving back up. Ouch. I just put my knee on the edge of concrete. Moving back up, we're going to tighten. Let me do it like this first. Here at the bracket for the air cleaner housing. Should have brought a shorter extension with me for that spot, but that's okay. She's good and tight. Now the air cleaner housing itself, we got two holes on the bottom of this. They got a threaded nut welded into them. Two holes here to line up with. Okay, now the bolt and the crossbar here we are going to leave fairly loose until we get the other side panel on, so we can make sure it gets lined up real well. But we are going to our air intake hose here, tighten it down real good, because as far as the maintenance right now is concerned, we're not going to be taking it off again. Not again until springtime. Alright, she's on there. Okay, with the right side panel, a couple things to pay attention to here. First, we've got to finagle it to get around the exhaust, unless you want to take your muffler off, and I don't want to do that. Down on the bottom, you've got two holes here. This hole is for your blow-by hose. This hose is pretty stiff, so we're going to take it off, pull it up reinstall it after we get the side panel on. This grommet here is for your headlight cables, your headlight wiring. Previous owner wired it a different way. We're going to redo it in the spring, so for now I'm not running anything through here. So first we'll get this blow-by hose off. It's a whole lot easier to do it this way than to try to finagle the end of it through that hole afterwards. Now I gotta remember which direction sometimes I get this back on pretty quick, and sometimes it takes me a couple tries. That was pretty easy that time. Alright, put my screwdriver right over here. Very similar to the other side. We've got these nuts with the Phillips head screw on, get it in there loose. Got one on a crossbar here. Whew, that wind. That's cold. And we got a third one right here. Alright. Okay, now we put the bracket for our exhaust back on. Goes in here, this hole. There's also a hole right up in the bottom of your muffler. Get these guys threaded in. Yeah, once again, I think this is going to be one I got to do without gloves. There it is. Then very similar to the right side, we have two bolts with 14mm heads. They go here and over here. And we'll tighten those up. Switch back to 12mm, get these tightened. And while I'm down here, this blowback hose, get the end of it down here through that hole I showed you. There we go. And back up top, finish tightening these three bolts. Reattach our blow-by hose. Side panels are done. Alright, we'll get this hood put back on. Pretty simple operation. This hole right here, we've got one on each side. The hood fits around the outside of those. There's a bolt, nut, 2 flat washers, and a lock washer on each side. My hardware kind of needs replaced, but I ain't going to mess with that right now. We're just going to put what we got back on. And these all on mine have a 1/2 inch head. I imagine that's not the original size. Someone else put those on, but they work. Take my hood, kind of get it lined up, set in place here. A lot of times I go ahead and latch it on this side when I'm putting it back on. And you can see your line where it lines up over here. A bolt and washer. I'm going to slide a washer up the inside so it catches the bolt. Goes in the hole. I brought it in too far because I didn't leave myself room to get the nut in there yet. And my lock washer and my nut. Get this started on tightening, but like everything else, you don't want to tighten it all the way until you got both of them in. Now this is one of those you just got to play with for tightening. You don't want it too tight because your hood won't open. You don't want it too loose because your hood will rattle all the time when it's running. So get it where it feels kind of snug. We'll open the hood a couple times. Alright, there it is. I was going to tidy this up a little bit and didn't quite get around to it. Now this plastic's going to be, it ain't going to be very pliable, so it's going to be sticking up here on the corners. Also, I had a corner come apart down here, and you saw when we cleaned the radiator we had an awful lot of dust down in this side. Well, that's what it comes from. So that will be added to the springtime list. Done it so many times I don't think about it. Once I've had it off for a couple months, it's like, I guess it ain't been a couple months. I'm pretty close though. That'll hold her through the winter. Well, there you have it, folks. That's the end of the maintenance I'm going to get done this season. So we didn't get to everything I wanted to do, but that's okay. Gives us a starting point for in the spring. Also, we identified a few areas that need some attention. We'll get to those as well. And I got some questions and suggestions from you, the viewers, especially when it comes to picking tires, the backhoe, things like that. So we've got plenty lined up for when the weather breaks again. And ironically, by the time I get caught up editing and publishing videos, you'll probably be watching this when I've already started on next year's work. So we're just going to continue right along into it. But for now, I'm getting ready to put this bucket back on. I've got a little bit of work to do, but until then, appreciate you watching. If you enjoyed or learned anything from this maintenance series on the Kubota, just appreciate any subscribes and likes, comments that you have. And until next time, keep on nourishing your dreams, cultivating your passions, embracing the beauty of God's creation. We'll see you then. Hope you have a blessed day.